Hi, it's Naomi here, Naomi Meagle, and I am here to share with you that if you're a woman who is finding herself eating when you're not hungry, obsessing about food, obsessing about your body weight, then I can share with you these simple steps that I've created, which helped me recover from these food obsessions, body image obsessions, and hundreds of women that I've worked with and supported and guided over the years. And to aid me in showing you this simple process, I'm going to come right over here and share my screen with you. So here we have it. The six-pointed star of food and body image freedom is a simple sequence of supportive tools that need to be in place, I believe, for the freedom around food and body image to really start to take shape. And let's look at them in turn. Creating space and stillness isn't always easy. We have busy lives, we've got a lot of people that we're serving, we have lots of stresses in our lives typically now in this day and age. And so the food freedom process is aimed at helping people like you who are really busy, can easily feel overwhelmed, to prioritize in a simple, gentle, structured way the stillness, gentleness, and awareness needed to really go on this food freedom journey. None of us can do this alone. We all need accountability and support. And so the food freedom process is aimed at helping people find a way where we can kind of get around those parts of us that just want to do all this alone, want to isolate ourselves, and find ways where it doesn't feel too embarrassing or difficult to share a bit more about our story and receive the support we need to succeed. I know that it can really feel like overeating and that tendency to want to grab food when we're not hungry or think about food all the time can sometimes feel like a runaway train, and it makes us feel discouraged, like, wow, this part of me that wants to overeat even though I vowed not to feels so dominant. How can I slow that cycle of eating, feeling ashamed, and then eating all over again to kind of cover over those feelings of having done wrong by myself? Well, the food freedom process is aimed at helping that cycle to gradually start to slow so that we can find spaces where we're not feeling obsessed with food, and we can really leverage those spaces and create more time and space for ourselves, and essentially be able to have the choice we need to be able to eat in a way that feels like it lines up with our integrity. I believe that food boundaries are required, and sometimes those parts of us that really want to eat whatever they want to eat and have complete autonomy don't really like this concept of boundaries. But in the food freedom process, there's a way where boundaries can feel totally okay. It can feel actually a relief to find the places where we eat, the times that we eat, the times we don't eat. And those parts of us that just want to be in charge all the time can start to relax a bit. I actually enjoy that too. When we've been caught up in these issues for a really long time, we kind of can tend to lose connection with our own creative flow in this life. We almost don't even know or remember what it is that makes us come alive. And so it's really important in this process that we actually come back to that place where perhaps before we had this food obsession and this body weight obsession, we were in our creative flow, or those sparks that can be brought into light again that really make life worthwhile beyond the food. And it's also easy for us to lose connection with a love of our body. And as we identify our healthy body weight and start to work towards it, we find ourselves really starting to feel happy in our skins and enjoying our wonderful women's bodies, and feeling the freedom and the joy and the pride in our bodies that we've perhaps lost sight of through the years. So it starts with exploring the different parts of us a little bit. And I'm going to start right here with this indulger part, or we sometimes call firefighters in the internal family systems model, which is really used through the food freedom process. And what does this part look like? I mean, it might look a bit like this. It's the part that just really wants to indulge. It's like, oh, I just want that food. And it might not look like exactly like that for you. But the energy is of really wanting to and feel the pleasure and feel the sensuousness of food and maybe escape and numb out. I've written here, reacting quickly to fire and emotions. These parts don't particularly like emotions. We might not even feel like we have emotions because before we know it, we're at the fridge, or we're eating that cake or that candy, whatever it is that we're attracted to. But essentially, these parts are working to protect us from uncomfortable feelings. So they don't really allow too much emotion to get in. And they're doing it for our good. It actually works. Like that's the thing. The food really does work, and these parts are smart. They know how to keep us safe from our feelings. On the other hand, we have these guys. I'm calling them the food managers or controllers, but you might have a different name for them, like the dieting part or the strict part. Yeah, they can sometimes be looking a bit like, you should not eat that. You should eat this. They try to run our food and diet lives. They want us to be slim. They want us to look good. They have lots of ideas about how to do that. And they try to contain our vulnerability and our emotions as well, because they want us to stay in control of our food and our eating. And they know that when we feel emotional or triggered, that's when those firefighting types can come out and really reach for those foods. So these parts too aren't so comfortable with our emotions, our feelings, and our vulnerabilities. Which brings me right over to these guys, the food and body vulnerabilities. And they might look or feel a little bit like this, a little bit young, a little bit innocent, and perhaps with some uncomfortable feelings. They can hold things like hurt, pain, fear, loneliness, and shame. And they really do feel sometimes like they are stuck back in the past, like some of those feelings that life can trigger in us are coming from a place where things weren't resolved. We didn't get the support we needed at the time. And so these parts can feel really like children. Essentially, like children, what they want is to be seen, heard, and felt. But because of our food parts, that doesn't usually happen for us. We can't really take care of these younger parts of ourselves so easily. And so this happens. It isn't easy for us to feel our feelings, and so we go back into the cycle of eating. Overeating or eating more than our bodies need. And so in essence, this is the cycle. I call it the food burden cycle. It starts with the indulging part that can reach for that food. That brings along the controlling part that says, hey, stop it, you're so greedy, don't do that, right, I'm going on a diet, or whatever it is it says. It really wants to keep this under control. But essentially it can often use criticism and shame in its attempts, which then, of course, lands not on that food indulger part, but on these exiled, vulnerable parts, the ones that feel shame, the ones that feel like a failure. That's usually where those criticisms lie. And you can see that right in the middle here, there's this beautiful sun, which is self. It's our real selves, the selves that we can sometimes lose sight of when we're caught up in these cycles. And this is what the cycle can look like. Lots and lots of sweets, lots of candy, things that we don't wish that we were eating. And actually, through the food freedom process, we can learn to slow the momentum. It might not stop overnight, but through bringing in more of that true self that we are, through the awareness and the gentleness of this process, we realize that actually there can be some breathing space. This isn't always just the same way in a cycle. And this is the process. It's gentle and it's aware and it's steady and it keeps on going. And those sweets, those candies, the things that we wish we weren't eating, whatever it is that's addictive food for us, starts to relax away and fall away from our lives. But not because that managing part is dieting it away or being strict about it or having good foods and bad foods in different categories or getting really super uptight with us, but really because we're bringing in more effortlessness and more joy and more awareness into our lives. And so there's less of a need to eat in that way. And this is the medicine. It's that self we perhaps had more connection with once before things got tricky in our lives. And as I go through this list, I invite you to connect with these qualities inside yourself. And even if you've been struggling with this food issue for a long, long time, really know in yourself that these qualities are available and they can guide you through this process too. These are the things we need for this: calm, clarity, curiosity about our parts, about what our food lives have been about, what they're trying to tell us, the creativity to make this path unique for us, the confidence. Even though things may have felt really difficult in the past, we may have had many different ideas that we're going to heal, and those ideas didn't come to pass. And our confidence may feel a little bit like it's disappeared. It hasn't, it's still there. It may be covered up by hopelessness or discouragement. That confidence is still shining bright like a sun. Our courage to try something, to keep going. The compassion we need with ourselves, with the people around us, particularly with those vulnerable parts of us that have been struggling and haven't been able to feel that sun of ourselves. The connectedness we need with other people, the support and accountability we need to actually find the food freedom we're seeking. And the choice, those areas where we can actually make good choices for us, choices that nourish us, that feel healthy to our body, where we're not overrun by these parts of us. And actually they can feel our presence too and find relief and relax into this process. And we do need support on this process. I work with groups of women in small groups, and we learn that actually it's safe to connect and share our journeys with each other. It's a network creation based on simplicity, safety. We're respectful of each other. We're all different. We have accountability to each other. We make promises, vows, and then we can be gentle with each other. That's the support we need. And sometimes we need support from something else instead, something outside ourselves, inside ourselves, that's really caring for us. And I called it self earlier in this video. And we steadily find that gentleness and clarity, but not without asking for that help. We invite our own inner selves, that higher part of ourselves that really knows how to heal around food. We say, I'm ready. We almost just offer this up. It's been an issue for us for a long time, and it's relaxing and feels so good to just say, you know what, I need support. I need support from within and without. I give you this food and body image issue in my life. I'm done. Show me where to start. Make it clear what I need to learn. It's been so confusing. There's been so much advice out there. So many different books have been written about this. So many different diet plans have been created. Show me where I need to start and make it really clear what my path is, each simple step. And change me into someone who's open to relax and change, open to receive your clear, simple guidance on this path to freedom. And parts can sometimes be really close to receiving this support. They might feel like, why would help be available when it hasn't been available in the past? Maybe when we were younger. Nothing worked in the past, so it's better not to disappoint me through trying again. Or I don't have this so-called self available to me, this medicine that I need. I've always felt cut off and abandoned. I don't believe there's something inside or outside that really cares about my food, my weight, or my feelings. Parts can really feel like actually asking for help isn't easy, receiving for help even harder. Parts can also feel quite threatened. They can feel like actually it's really tricky for me to find the resources I need. And when I do, it's difficult. Is it easy to trust? Not usually for some of our parts, particularly around this issue of body and weight. And that is so normal. But through welcoming and understanding the fears of all our parts, they can begin to relax. And sometimes there are parts of us that actually, I sometimes call the not slim self. It's a part that we really don't like. We want to push her away. She actually longs to be integrated into the rest of our systems. But other parts of us deny her, hate her, push her away, particularly criticize her. It's as if she's saying, I thought if I put this weight on, I'd get your attention. And she does. Many women feel that by honoring their not slim self, they're granting her permission to stay or even grow. In actual fact, it's when we accept her in the right way, she can begin to relax and no longer needs to use overeating or being kind of overindulgent with food or just really feeling like she needs to put on weight for us. That doesn't need to be her way of getting our attention. We can find a different way, a more effective way to help her feel accepted and loved in our system. I know that there are hopeless parts of you It's very, very common for us to have these thoughts. I'll always be this way. I'll never feel happy, healthy, and free around food. What's the point in trying? I'll never change. I felt those thoughts in my own experiences before I found food freedom, and many of the people I work with feel those things too. It's so normal to have those thoughts and those doubts. But actually, when we put our energy into the food freedom process in whatever way is right for us, it unlocks our energy and potential. We can live greater peace, health, and contentment. We can live in our bodies, our relationships, in our lives with these essences of peace, health, and contentment. And this is what it means to be fully alive. Food is so connected to so much, and it's connected to our feelings of safety, it's connected to our feelings of power. It's so natural for this to feel like a scary journey to start with. But actually, if we really want to live in that vibrancy, in that potential, in that creativity that we know is our birthright, then this is a simple process that is right to engage in at your own pace, in a unique way, in a simple way. It can occur for you and everyone. I hope that this video has been valuable for you, and I'd love to connect with you along the path in a more personal way. So if this has been of interest to you, then click on the link and find yourself into one of the free monthly online courses that I run for small groups of women to find out more about the food freedom process. Also, I'll leave my contact details, and I would love to hear from you and for you to reach out. And we can always have a chat individually if you feel like you're not sure or you have questions about whether the food freedom process is for you. It's been such a pleasure to give you a bit of an overview of this very simple process, and I look forward to our paths crossing in the future.